What's up, guys? I'm back again. I decided I'm gonna make a little bit different video for you guys today. It's still a car video. It's one I've been meaning to do for quite a long time. I don't know how the quality's gonna be because I'm using my GoPros. I haven't used these in a while. I'm not using my regular camera. So this video, we're gonna take the Forester here out for a ride, and I'm gonna try my best to teach you guys. Any of you might be new to the car world or anything. I'm gonna try my best to teach you guys how to drive a stick shift, standard transmission, manual, however you call it in your area. Around here, you know, it's stick shift. But obviously, I got the other camera set up right here. Hopefully, you guys will be able to see the pedals pretty well, what I'm doing. So, you know, obviously, you have your clutch, brake, throttle, e-brake up top here. I'm going to be putting the other camera up there so you guys can see a perspective of the vehicle. And I'm going to take you guys out and try and teach you how to drive stick. I don't know if this video is going to help anybody or not, but this is just my take on it. So this is not the law, this is not the rules, this is how I drive stick. So let's take it for a rip. Alright, let me get situated here. So one thing, the camera down here, you might see a little bit of bumping and moving. I'll try my best not to whack it with my leg, but no promises on that one. All my crap here. So to start, very first thing, you know, make sure you're neutral. Your e-brake's on. You know, push the clutch all the way in. Now, pretty much any newer vehicle, I'd say probably from the 80s and up. I don't know for sure, don't quote me. Pretty much as a clutch safety switch. Now, if the clutch is out and you try and start it, it ain't starting. So you push the clutch all the way in, turn the radio off, fire it up. Let me close the window so I don't have too much window noise. You know, obviously you let the clutch out when it's in neutral, it's not going to go anywhere. You want your e-brake on all the time so that, well, not all the time, but you want your e-brake on when you're sitting so it doesn't roll away on you. So let's open the garage here. So just start, you're going to start by taking the e-brake off. I really hope you guys can see this. Let's start taking the e-brake off, push the clutch in, seatbelt of course. And start, in a car like this, you want to start in first gear. There's some exceptions to that rule, like my truck. We'll get into that later, maybe in another video. So we're gonna start off first gear. Slowly let the clutch out, and as your revs start to drop down, you want to just give it a little bit of throttle. You don't want to do more than, I'd say, 1,000. You really don't. This is what you don't want to do. You don't want to just tack the heck out of it and let it clunk. So that's definitely one of the hardest things for people to learn, I found, because I've taught many people how to drive stick, is the starting. So hopefully that's definitely the biggest struggle point, is getting going. Once you're going, it's really not that bad. It's just getting going. So when you come up to a stop, what I do is I put the clutch in and then hit my brakes. You probably see my feet. I can't even talk as fast as I'm doing this. So hopefully the video will help you guys a little better than I am. So we're at a stop, I have the clutch in, I'm holding the brake. This is also the other challenge, is hills. So when you're going on a hill, you want a little more throttle. You can probably hear me revving a little. I'm just riding the clutch out. You can feel it grabbing. So when you go to shift, all you do, let off the throttle, put the clutch in, go to the next gear, let the clutch out, and get back into the throttle. You do not need throttle when you're upshifting. That's something I can't stress enough, because teaching people, that's the #1 issue I've found. So now I'm just going to drive a little so you guys can watch. And every gear change is going to be the same way. When you go to shift, you put the clutch in, shift up to third gear, let the clutch out, get on the throttle. And fourth, same thing. Let off throttle, put the clutch in, shift to fourth, let the clutch out, throttle. Now, clutch in, drop a gear, let the clutch out. That's the beginner's version. Okay, guys? Now, I'm sure you've heard, and I'll show you guys this in a minute, I'm sure you guys have heard the term rev matching. So what rev matching is when you're going to when you need a little more power and you need to downshift the gear. If you rev match, when you put the clutch in, your engine idles back down to almost its idle, or close to it. Whereas your transmission is still spinning at, say, 2,000–3,000 RPM. So as you can imagine, all of a sudden, if you don't rev match, not that it's going to kill it, but it's a little harder on it, because if you're not rev matching, what then happens is that, you know, your transmission at spinning at 3,000 RPMs hits your motor at 1,000, and it's a little bit harder on the clutch and the components. And, you know, the more you do it, the more you can kind of get yourself adjusted. You know, how fast you can let it rip, how fast you can shift. You know, there's a lot more to it as you start to drive it, and a lot of it is just a matter of learning it as you go. It really is that simple. As the longer you do it, the more you figure out. So I'll show you guys a rev match. So when I'm going downshift, I'm going to put the clutch in, tap the throttle, downshift, and let the clutch out. Now that one wasn't exactly picture perfect, so I was doing it slow so you guys can understand what I was doing. See? Now I hope you guys can see this as well as I think you can. Show you guys, we'll pull out from here, I'll show you again what we're doing, then we'll go up a hill so I can show you about a hill run. So like I said, just go through this one more time, how to start. I'm stopping with the brake in, clutch in, put it in first gear, get off the brake, start to let the clutch out, just tack it up a little bit. You don't need to tack it up more than, say, 500–700 RPMs, at least in this type of car. So I rev it out, gas off, clutch in, shift, clutch out, gas in. It's really that simple. It's really not nearly as difficult as people make it seem to be. And you can sort of learn how to, like, rolling through corners is one thing. And, you know, if you're going through a corner slow, you know, you can just let the clutch out. You don't really need the throttle because you're still moving. To shift that fast as I just did. That's once you really get comfortable with your car, you can safely do that. But see, like I'm going up a hill again, I'm losing a little power, so I'll left throttle real quick, dump the clutch, drop down one gear, let the clutch back out, back into the throttle. So we're gonna go down here. I'm gonna make a totally legal U-turn. I'm gonna show you guys all about the hills. Hills are where it gets really fun. Hills are probably the hardest thing. That and rev matching. Once you have pulling out down to a science, then the next thing is, you know, your rev matches. And then, well actually I should say next is your hills and then rev matching, in the order you should really be concerned about learning it. Okay, so now you can see we're on a pretty good hill. Let me throw my forwards on so I don't piss anybody off. So on a hill like this, once you let the brake, you're gonna roll. So you need to go from the brake to the throttle real quick, but you don't want to launch it. Let me show you. See, I start to ride my left foot out, just ride the clutch, so it just starts to grab as I'm getting in the throttle to get it moving. Because, I mean, you don't, as far as I know, nobody has 3 legs that they can hold the brake at the same time. So I'll show you that one more time on a hill. And this time, not going to say anything, just pay attention. First, I'm on brake, clutch, ready? Now that's one area where if your car is idled at say 1200 RPMs, you want to be revving it up a pretty good amount. I mean, you don't want to be totally like revving it like that, but you definitely want to tack it up a little bit. And that's really the basics of driving a standard transmission, guys. It's not that complicated like people make it out to see like it is. It's not that hard at all. It takes a lot of practice. I am definitely one of those, I would not say you should just go out and buy a stick shift car and figure it out. But if you know somebody has a stick shift, ask them, hey, I'll pay for gas, can we go out and drive this? I want to learn, you know? But if you go out and buy a stick shift car for your first car, that's fine too, because you gotta figure it out somehow. So I'm gonna drive back towards the house. And once I get back to the house, I will show you the last thing that's, I think, is pretty important. That definitely stumps some people a little bit. It's not nearly as common, but backing up. And now another thing, I should show you guys this, but this is definitely getting more advanced. This is more like a trucker thing. But if you have a pretty good setup, you can always roll gears too. So I'll show you. I'll take my left foot off the clutch, and you can use the throttle and kind of feel your way through the gears. See? But that takes a lot of practice to do that right without ruining stuff. So I would not recommend that on your first time around, alright? Pull up to the school by my house. Make sure you guys, backing into a spot. So this one's pretty easy. You want to pull up in front of it like you would a normal car. And when you come to a stop, over and back in this car for reverse, you just do it in reverse. Let the brake off, little throttle, ride the clutch out, back up, and then just as you're almost there, clutch in, use your brakes. Pretty simple, guys. Put the park brake on when you're all said and done. Sit here and piss off your neighbors by tacking it up. I'm just kidding, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't be that guy, alright? So that's the basics of driving a stick shift car, guys. I talk to you today in my 2002 Subaru Forester, which comes with a 5-speed transmission. Yeah, if you guys have any more questions or want to see more of this, let me know in the comments below.